and welcome to Assembly Audible. I'm your host, Jennifer Pierce, multimedia content specialist with Assembly Magazine. When a recent survey asked manufacturers to list their biggest challenges, 83% said attracting and retaining a quality workforce. Only supply chain disruptions and rising material costs rank higher. Indeed, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, manufacturers had 858,000 unfilled jobs in November 2021, and the problem is only going to get worse. Baby boomers represent 27% of the manufacturing workforce, and 10,000 of them are retiring daily. At the current pace, there could be 2.1 million unfilled manufacturing jobs by 2030. My guest today has the daunting challenge of figuring out ways to reverse those statistics. I'm joined by Jeannine Kunz, who has just been appointed to the newly created position of Chief Workforce Development Officer at the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, or SME. Her role includes leadership responsibility for tooling USME, the learning and development arm of SME. A recognized expert in the field of learning and development, Jeannine is at the forefront of workforce management issues, providing forward-thinking learning and development solutions for companies, academia, and individuals. Jeannine, welcome to Assembly Audible.
Thank you, Jennifer. Nice to be here.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really interested in learning more about this problem and some possible solutions. So can you just give us an overview? What's going on? What's going on in the field? What's going on out there? Why are manufacturers having such a hard time finding skilled workers?
Yeah, it's and you said some of that intro really well, because the challenge is pretty daunting. And unfortunately, it hasn't been getting better. We've been tracking this more statistically, research-wise, for the last 10 years, since about 2010. So I guess now that's 12 times flying here. But in terms of the challenges and what's facing manufacturers, some of the variables that existed over that last decade are still there, but then there's some new ones, and I'll touch on those. But so it's not, as I like to say, for the faint of heart of trying to address workforce challenges, but I'll kind of break it into a couple of the key factors and variables that are driving the challenge, and again, maybe the increasing amount of it that we're dealing with. But one is just the lack of people coming into the field, right? We just don't have enough people pursuing careers in manufacturing, whether those are from the production technicians roles, some of those roles all the way up in through engineering. So not having enough people entering our field is one problem. Overall, the average age of the manufacturing industry is one of more tenured employees, and therefore more leaving the workforce. So when you have that, it's not a younger industry at the moment. We hope to change that trajectory. But as those individuals, they call it the silver tsunami, leave, right, our industry of manufacturing and not having enough come in. Again, problem number 2. Problem number 3, technology is advancing, right? Manufacturing is a very technology-rich industry, right? It's all built on new materials, new systems, new technology, great things. But that new advancement that moves at a pretty accelerated pace in manufacturing versus maybe some other industries makes it such that keeping up with the development of people creates challenges, right, in terms of the workforce gap. And then another interesting one, and it really kind of got exacerbated. It existed before the pandemic, but when COVID-19 hit and all the supply chain issues, right, impacted and we're still dealing with those, Jennifer, manufacturers were really faced with looking at where they build things and where different components that come together to be assembled and how that affected their final outcome in their products. And therefore, this idea of reshoring and bringing some of that manufacturing back to the United States in particular, or maybe nearshoring towards their core operations, again, has put that pressure on needing more people, right? So we get conversations now around communities and economic development, companies saying, I want to bring business back into the United States, but I don't know that I can actually source the people.
What's the best piece of advice that you can give manufacturers in this current climate?
I would say my best piece of advice would be to definitely make your workforce a key part of your strategic planning process and consider it a pillar of your strategic competitiveness, and that combination of people development along with your business strategies and how those integrate. And don't give up on it, because I know it can be challenging and I know it can have its bumps, but as manufacturers, that's what they're used to. They're used to continuous improvement. They're used to the plan, do, check, adjust. And that same thinking, if applied to the people development, they'll get there and their people will stay.
Okay. How can people learn more about SME and tooling USME?
Sure. Well, we have our sme.org is our website of all things SME, and that encompasses what we do to help advance technology as well as people. And then a sub website is toolingu.com, which is where you can find a lot of our training and education components.
Okay. Well, Jeannine, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you, Jennifer. We really appreciate it.
For more insights on assembling discrete parts into finished products and the people behind it all, visit our website, assemblymag.com, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast to keep up with our latest episodes. We're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, so we invite you to follow us there too. This has been Assembly Audible. Thanks for listening.